3, 2, 1. What's up, dude?
How you doing? Thanks for having me over.
Dude, thank you for coming. Had a little slight technical difficulty. I've never, that was always my mindset, eventually, because when I first started the podcast, I didn't even know I wanted to do it, full-time at first, but I was like, well, I do this full-time. I just want to put the money up front, buy the cool shit, the high-quality shit that never breaks on me, in theory.
Yeah.
These fucking break on me in 6 months.
Really?
Oh, yeah, so if you look, so this one doesn't really have a whole lot of tension on it. That one has next to none.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
one of these has tennis elbow.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So, but yeah, we were talking about the... we will have Mr. John Cuellar. He will join us here pretty soon. I think he's just stuck in traffic. But the nice thing about the... I'm just going to drop my number in that group chat.
8675309, right?
Let's see.
It's the only pop culture number I remember, except the one that's all 8s.
Well, I remember, isn't it a thing where if you're watching a movie, they always give their number as 555 and then just bullshit afterwards so that nobody can call the number?
Yeah, I love ones that are aware of it, and they're like, no, we're going to buy a number and have it, we're going to pay the bill to keep this thing active in perpetuity so it can be like the character's voicemail.
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. Those are always fun.
The viral marketing campaigns and shit like that.
Or you get the somewhat smaller movies that totally just flub it and forget to remove or censor or change things, and then, you're getting random calls in the middle of the night for people who watched a movie on Netflix.
Just some weirdo jerking off. I saw your movie.
Those tacos looked good. Yeah. Those late night food aficionados.
Yeah, but what's nice about that Zoom is it lets me plug it into the computer. So that's what we use for the interface for live streaming, and then I use that for when I'm on Discord playing video games with my buddies and shit like that. So
very handy looking device.
Yeah. So the intention of this podcast was to have the entirety of potential problems here with us.
Right now, it's a half.
It's just potential.
Yeah.
The problem is late. So almost 11 years.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this beforehand. I didn't know that you used to do stand-up.
Yeah, I started at what is it? The brewery, Nexus. Yeah, that's why I want to call it Netflix because I just referenced that a minute ago. Yeah, no, I started at Nexus Brewery at the Young, Dumb, and Full of Comedy open mic. It went through different iterations. It was called Comedy Cream Pie at one time. There was different things. But yeah, went a couple weeks with a couple friends, and the friends didn't want to really hang around that much because they kept getting called homeless by by comics on stage, and they're like, this isn't quite our crowd, but we wanted to support you.
Were your friends homeless?
Yeah. But they were cool. They were these dudes I used to rap with, and it's all kind of connects. So like I said earlier, I also worked at a haunted house for a few seasons, and that's where I met these dudes, and we got together, started rapping and making different songs together, and decided, we're gonna be a rap group for a while. That didn't pan out.
Wait, so wait.
Yeah, there's a whole. I got a whole lineage.
There's a lore behind this guy.
Born in a salsa factory. Also true.
What the fuck?
Yeah. My parents had a salsa factory for a decade in the late 90s.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then alcohol ran it into the ground.
Oh well, hey, you know what? That does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
So you used to rap?
Yeah, for a couple years.
Oh shit!
I went to a media arts high school, and I met a bunch of different people there, and they had audio classes, and that's kind of where I got into the video audio production thing. Just learning basic skills, with student films, little things class projects and that kind of stuff. And I met with this one dude, and he was kind of a rapper, and I was like, we should try to do something. So we tried making funny songs that were rap, and they ended up being just kind of half violent and not really that funny. And
it's like Limp Bizkit and Lonely Island had this inbred child.
Yeah, and they named it Inappropriate. N-appropriate. So we had I don't know, 10 songs, something like that. We had Throw Your Weed Up. We had Booty Shaking Bitches. We had Piss in Your Cheerios. We had Till the Fat Bitch Sings. There was a couple more. One was just called No, where we were just rejecting people outright. Just different examples where you could tell somebody no, got change for the bus? No. That kind of thing. But yeah, it was just kind of a chances to make goofy songs with friends, and did a couple shows. Our first show was at the Albuquerque Peace and Justice Center, so we sang Booty Shaking Bitches.
And this is before BLM was even a thing. They were progressive, these people.
Yeah. It's just fun stuff in high school, and then that translated to meeting these dudes at the primitive Fear Haunted House, the one they ran at Coronado. So I did that for 3 seasons, and
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, they are the original sponsor of this podcast, and I could not be happier to continue to be working with these guys. I get it. It's New Mexico. Everyone loves red, green, both. But this genuinely is my favorite brand of chili here in the state of New Mexico, and I love being able to partner up with these guys. They are absolutely phenomenal. Zane and the rest of the team at Chop Chili do an amazing job running that company, and they make an absolutely phenomenal product. And right now, they are running a very special promotional on their Instagram. Go check them out on Instagram. Go give them a follow. And as they post pictures with the hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge, if you can guess where in New Mexico that picture was taken, you can win not only free red or green chili, but also a free custom t-shirt directly from the company themselves. Again, go check them out on Instagram. Give them a follow. Check out their hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge. Win yourself some free chili. Win yourself some free shirts. They are also available in Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, and a ton of other grocery stores in the state of New Mexico, as well as El Paso, and they are expanding out to West Texas. Again, thank you so much to Zane and the rest of his amazing team over at Chop Chili. Back to the episode.
it was fun.
So
Dude,
were
you
you like
to
one
scream
of the?
at people?
Yeah, so you were one of the. What were you dressed up as?
Well, everyone was kind of dressed up in the same thing. This place was kind of cheap, where they just gave you the simple black robe that you had for like the Scream costume, and then they spray paint your face with some airbrush, and then put you in a dark corner and tell you to be creative for the night.
I feel like that's the worst instructions to give an Albuquerque 20-something in a haunted house where you're supposed to scare somebody. You got one dude being like, boo! And another guy pulling out a knife, another dude's whipping out his dick and just...
Yeah. I mean, and it was all around Balloon Fiesta time, too. So you get these international tourists.
A bunch of tourists.
Yeah, one couple came in. I could tell they were German, so I started talking to them in German, just fucking with them.
Do you speak German?
At a very, high school level. But I haven't practiced it in quite some time.
That's better than my Spanish, and I got a Mexican last name.
Yeah. I tried selling my German teacher one of my CDs and trying to hit on her. she was like, I'll buy it, but that's it.
We had this Russian teacher. She taught like world studies or some shit, and she was Russian, and it made it all the funnier because like me and my friends, I want to say we were like freshmen in high school, sophomores in high school around there, and her son was a senior, I want to say. And I went to a military school, so her son, from what I remember, her son was one of the upper level classmen that always fucked with the lower classmen.
Yeah.
So it would always be funny, like, hey, dude, your mom's my teacher. I get to stare at her all day. And we will all wear uniforms. Like they were in uniforms, and she like never wore an undershirt.
Yeah.
It was just the button up. And she had some silicone going on.
Oh, no.
And so we just gave him shit all day long.
Oh, man. That would be torturous to be that kid in that situation.
I think Mr. John is here.
All right.
What a fun topic to take a break on.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get Mr. Cuellar. We'll be right back. What are you talking about? You got a fucking cuck chair? Did you ordered that for your hotel? Is that what you're saying, you fucking weirdo?
I had to have somewhere to do my work from, and I work very discreetly.
This was the trip to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
You went with Nick, right?
Yeah. Just out there and make some content for our OnlyFans.
Oh, cool.
Subscribe today. No.
Hey, you know what? It's 2024, almost 2025. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. No, it was just really an excuse to go out there and wear suits and make videos.
Nice.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people try to sell you cocaine if you're wearing a purple suit. There was like 3 people who were just like, cocaine?
Like, he's obviously the guy.
Yeah.
This is the prime clientele that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Well, and so I was telling you a little before we started. So a few years ago, it was like well before the pandemic, me and a few buddies, we went out to Vegas, and because one of our friends had already moved back out there with his family, and then like a few of us were going to go off to training, a few of us were getting deployed. So we're on the strip, we're fucked up, and we're we're walking down, and this is, I'm not gonna say who it is, but a buddy of mine was still had some run-ins with cocaine.
Sure,
it was
yeah.
still part of his life, and we're walking down, and this smaller like black dude comes up to us. He's young. He's got to be no older than like 22, 23. Comes up to us, and he goes, and he's acting strange already. Right, and not in a way of like he's gonna like stab you or like just be violent with you. It was like, oh, this dude's a narc. Like he's so clearly a cop, right? So he comes up to us and he it's just the most like generic question. He goes, "And are you guys looking to buy?" And we're like we all like sober up a little bit, like no.
Yeah.
But then our one buddy was like, "What do you got?" And we're like, dude. He's a cop. Like, what are you doing? This is so clearly a cop. And the guy's like, I'm not a cop. And it's like, he's so clearly a fucking cop. That's what a cop would say.
He's like, I'm not a cop, you are.
Yeah, right? And then he goes, no, I think it's okay, man. I think it's okay. So he goes up to him, and we all look at this guy, and we're like, all right, listen, man, we're gonna meet you over here in a few minutes. We'll be waiting on you. Guy, we don't know who you are. We don't want anything to do with what you're doing. And we are all saying no. He's doing this of his own volition, and we're all drunk. So this is entrapment. Goodbye. Like 5-10 minutes later, our buddy goes up to us and he goes, best cocaine I've ever had in my life. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at High Desert Relief, a premier herbal destination right here in the state of New Mexico. They have extremely well-trained and knowledgeable staff that are more than happy to help you find what you're looking for or try something that you maybe have never thought of before. They have 2 locations right here in Albuquerque and a 3rd in Santa Fe. All 3 will be listed in the description of this episode below. All 3 locations offering legendary products at absolutely legendary prices, including this awesome merch that they were so kind enough to give me. They can be found at all 3 of the locations. Again, big thank you to all the people over at HDR. Back to the episode.
Did he really get cocaine?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Buying the cocaine off the strip would, for one, be expensive. 2, would be probably just no good.
My brain was like, how soon are we going to take this guy to the fucking hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
I was
Is this
expecting-
actually cocaine?
Yeah, I was expecting him to be like, yeah, that was the best cocaine I've ever had.
So I got to
fall
stab
over
him 3
dead.
times. Gotta revive
But,
him.
so John, Alan...
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to say I snorted cocaine off a butthole one time in Vegas. Female butthole.
Hey, we don't
So it's
discriminate.
more impressive. I feel like guys are easier to like. You're like, hey, I'll give you a bump if I get to.
John's like, yeah, I've done it off both, and women are tougher. It's a tougher sell.
Easier to hold down, but tougher to sell.
But me and Alan were talking before. I never knew he used to do stand up.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you letting your friend here, your co-host? The Potential Problems podcast are all here now, ladies and gentlemen. That was the intent of this episode. To get them both in the same room.
I don't know what to do with this hand. I'm usually pressing buttons.
You could put it on whatever button you like.
Yeah.
But you let your buddy here, your co-host, your cohort, drop out of stand-up.
Oh, I feel that if you have a love for something, you'll find your way back to it. But I would venture, and I don't want to make any revelations here, but I would venture to say that Alan's dabbled in comedy and he doesn't find it as fulfilling maybe. And I myself, have that moment every once in a while where I'm like, But then other times I'm like, whoa, I just wrote this stupid joke about my uncle being run over by a tank in World War II. But the weird thing was, it was a think tank, so they must have been really good, It's like, how strong are those guys? I hate that term, by the way, think tank. What a stupid term, right? I mean, it's cool in principle what it is. A bunch of guys just sitting around on,
I'm into a dunk think tank.
A what?
That's a think tank where you dunk people into.
Oh,
it,
really?
Like
For like donuts too,
Well,
right?
think tanks sound cool on paper, but then when you see what they're applied to, it's like, oh no, all of you are retarded. Like
I would pay to watch that think tank.
like when you're so, it's just a special needs class with people in suits.
That would be cool because they probably have a cool teacher and they just be like, "This is our think tank
Well,
over here."
Well,
Shorter
when you're,
classes.
when you're so far gone,
Some kids just gooning in the corner. Sometimes they do that.
You don't say a word. Nobody does.
My buddy Jeremy told me about this kid in his class. It was like special, and they didn't really have the. It was like back before they had the whole ADA thing, compliance thing, so they could just put a special needs kid in the class and just kind of like not do anything, and he would
which
just
one
goon
of
in
these
the corner.
is not like the others?
That was the "this child left behind" policy.
That's how George Bush was in his elementary school class. But no, I mean, speaking about think tanks, like when you're so stupid and you make a product so bad, because like there are a lot of criticisms you can levy against the Republican Party, but the one thing that I'm sorry, it's the Democratic Party, but the one thing that they all have is like this incredible message discipline. Like they are all on the same talking points. They're all saying the same rhetoric, whether it's from the fucking presidency down to local news stations. They're all saying the same exact thing, whether it's the good things about their party, the bad things about their political opponents. They're all on the same page. The Republicans don't fucking have that, right? They are chickens with their heads cut off half the time.
I can see that sometimes, yeah.
But when you make something so stupid as Project 2025 that all of the Republicans get together and they're like, no, that's dumb. We don't want anything to do with that. That is so crazy. We're not going to track pregnant women. Stop it.
We're not?
Well,
I mean,
am.
for erotic purposes. Sure.
just find a trail of
Not
milk.
nefarious or duplicitous. Come on. We're gentlemen here.
Yeah, it's purely erotic.
We just want to watch from the windows and bust on the windowsill like
It's
a
only-
gentleman would.
We're not Big Brother. We just want to watch you from our favorite window. All right? Calm down.
We sent you a glass toilet. You can install it if you want, you know.
Don't mind the USB port at the bottom. Don't mind that. Okay, that's not for you.
Is this Project 2025? Because it's starting to sound bearable.
I don't know what they're so mad about, to be honest.
I think it might be one of those things where you go so far over the line that when you're like, that's too far over the line. It's okay. We'll just back it up a little bit. I mean, isn't that a strategy I think that's the strategy with the Matt Gaetz thing. Is they're like, let's throw the worst guy that you could ever think of. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, maybe we'll just make it Ken Paxton instead.
So my thing with Matt Gaetz is I try to look into him, but what I can find is like he's about as party loyalist as you can get. Like he has. Did the thing fall from under you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So just grab that,
Uh-huh.
and then there's a you got it. There's a piece of command strip under you, like to your right. Can you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah, just squeeze it on. This place is held together by command strips. All right, man. Or command strips. It's on like the corner of it.
I see it.
Yeah.
Does it face a specific way?
Just as long as the wires are going the right way.
Now wait, did this command strip part come off?
No. Just press it against it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the right way?
Oh, wrong way. There you go. Yep, there you go. You just squeeze it.
Right there.
Yeah, just press it real hard. Do you want me to get under there?
Get right under here, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get under there.
I swear
we're gonna take a little
Very suggestive audio.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Right?
cool. Yeah, just you might want to like press the lever on your seat and knock yourself down like an inch.
Let's do that.
Yeah, 'cause that's how I had Alan's chair. Anyway, so my thing with Matt Gaetz is like he just seems to be such a party loyalist, and he doesn't
can
really,
see that.
and he doesn't have like policy of his own. You know, he just follows whatever Trump wants. And how do I put this? So the Democratic Party they have these talking points against their political opponents, right? Mm-hmm. And there's been dozens for Trump, right? It's the Russian agent thing. He's a rapist. He's a threat to democracy. He's literally Hitler. All these things that just aren't working. And you see, and then like with Tulsi Gabbard, they're hitting her with the Russian plant thing again, the Russian agent thing again. Now that she got appointed, and so and those have all turned out to be bullshit, just nonsense. But then when I see something like that applied to Matt Gaetz with the whole sex trafficking thing of a minor, it's like, man, that's fucking bad. That's not good. And I looked into it, it was like, oh, they have like a case against him. But I guess they dropped the case like 3 or 4 days ago because they didn't have any evidence. So it's like, well, I mean, it's you guys have cried wolf way too many times. I'm not inclined to believe you as much as I probably would have maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now all these words like trafficking or pedophile, they're all just losing their meaning.
Well, why haven't
my uncle said the same thing?
He said it just doesn't. He's losing his love for the game because he whispered it into my ear.
If he would have just kept fucking me, maybe I would have stuck with comedy. I don't know.
What was it?
Well, I was just gonna say, when it comes to that kind of concern, I think what we really need to be worried about is Jay Leno okay? He looks like he was just in that
fell
Mike
down
Tyson
a hill.
fight.
He fell down a hill.
He fell down a hill, and like his whole left side of his face, it just looks like an old person who fell down a hill.
Why is it if Jay Leno died, a lot of the more modern comics would be all, fuck that guy, right? No respect at all,
well,
dude.
Because wasn't he in a really bad fire? Like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, that was only like a year ago that he was in a steam engine fire, and now he fell down a hill because he was like, oh, look down there. And then he fell down a hill and hit his face on a rock.
He's quickly
You hear about this?
He's turning into the Elephant Man. He's going to be in a Cronenberg movie by next year.
People need to start taking away his gadgets and access to steep hills. I'm concerned for him.
I did not hear about that. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and he's just showing it off to paparazzi like, hey, check this out. He lifts up an eye patch that he apparently doesn't need.
What the fuck?
But the eye patch was over his dick. So look at this.
That's funny. I had no idea about that. Like, the only thing I know about Jay Leno is that he was one of like the first big names to come out of the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And then everyone hated him because he got a late night show. And then, just flash forward, he just collects cars, got caught in a fire, and I guess now he's down a fucking hill.
Well, and if you look at it, it is a different philosophy than a lot of comics like are known for today, modern like comics. Like there's the whole like write a new bit every 6 months, put out a special. What?
And walk up the hill.
Walk up the hill, don't fall.
Wait, he fell up a hill?
No.
Oh, I was like, damn.
These are his alternatives. But he's never really put out a special. And he talked about that on his interview with Rogan, where they talked about how, he just doesn't do that because he thinks once you put it there, you can't use it anymore. And his whole thing is like, hey, I do shows. Those same people that come back, sometimes it's the same joke, sometimes it's not. Sometimes they love it all the time. Was his whole point.
I was gonna say, when you start talking about comics like that, they're like these not legendary, but they're like mainstay comedians.
Mm-hmm.
It's the comedian that'll get a residency. Mm-hmm.
Toady Fields. I know what you mean, right?
I have no idea who that is. That is way out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah. She was this comic who used to do shows with Carson in Vegas back in the 70s, and her whole bit was like, hey, look, I'm out of shape. It's cool, She's like, hey, I'm out of shape. I'll worry about that later. Hey, my blood pressure, whatever. Hey, diet, I'm trying, whatever. She had some health problems.
She was like Jane Panette instead of John Panette.
Oh, that was a real big dude that had the bit about Chinese buffets, right?
Everybody knows that guy. He's just right across generations.
Oh yeah, very funny dude. But you have comics like that where people will go to see them and they want to see specific material. Yeah. You know what I mean? They want to go and like hear the joke about the whatever. And
go to see Brian Regan for the dumb guy.
Yeah,
I'm the dumb guy.
You know what's funny? I had no idea that Brian Regan was even a comedian until I watched. He was in a show with the dude from Office Space, the main guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Ron.
Yes, him.
Livingston.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds correct. Ron Livingston. That sounds correct. But he was in a show, and it didn't run for very long, but it just got put on Netflix, I think, like maybe a year ago, 8 months ago. It's called Loudermilk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very funny. I didn't even know that Brian Regan was a comic.
Oh, really?
And I just started scrolling through the IMDb of all the people that were in it. And I was like, oh, this is
Louder Milk, is it like a sequel to Harvey Milk? Milk.
Not as gay. Or uppity. Making a big fuss about nothing.
It is a counseling, therapy group, right?
It's fun when a show can like make you laugh and then like there's a heroin overdose like a minute later.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah, for sure.
So, because it's about the guy
counselor, right?
Yeah, he's a alcohol. Yeah, I don't know if it's. I don't remember if it's Addictions Anonymous or like Alcoholics. I think it's Alcoholics specifically, but they all also do drugs and shit like that. And he's the.
Oh no, I did it again.
He's the main guy. I just need to replace those fucking command strips, or maybe do something different than command strips. Who knows?
Fine.
But he's the guy who runs the meetings. And like he's got all of his fucked up problems, obviously, and then they end up taking in this lady that was like in an abusive relationship that was addicted to like heroin and
they're easy to date.
And
Yeah, they're like at a low point, and you're like, "Hey, look, I could pull you out of the doldrums, or I could give you some heroin. Do you want to go out?"
I would like to thank the sponsor of this episode. I love my sponsors. Don't leave me after this one.
Oh, is that?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I forget. Yeah,
they know exactly what the fuck they signed up for. I love it.
Do your other guests not say things like this sometimes?
Not so early.
Oh,
And also not so sober. It usually takes a couple of drinks. And they're like, hey, what was wrong with the Nazis, really? And then it just turns into pandemonium. No, me and my buddies, we did episode 200 a few weeks ago. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you. And we went, I mean, I knew we were going to go for at least 2.5, but we ended up going for almost 4 hours. And it just turned into an argument about why Israel's good or bad, and it turned into a bunch of geopolitical shit.
Mel Gibson was there. Cool.
He's in the
passionate.
He's in the cuck corner, stroking his beard and his dick.
I just want to see someone fuck my wife. Okay.
Have you seen the South Park about Passion of the Christ? Yeah. Where they watch it and they're so offended they're trying to track down Mel Gibson to get their money back. And they're like chasing him through his mess. Yeah, I want my $12 back.
Wasn't that right after he got into his whole thing about the voicemails and calling that cop sugar tits?
Oh, that whole misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding? When you tell your
years.
wife that you wish that she would get raped by a pack of
people who
that,
are darker than
It was
you
fucking
know.
insane, dude.
That is rough. Like, here's my thing, because like people, even like some of my friends, they'll talk to me because like even like after this this last episode I put out a couple weeks ago about voting for Trump. There's some people that fucking straight up won't text me back. Like they don't talk to me anymore. They unfollow me from like Instagram, unfriend me on Facebook.
Well, it's like I could see if you were the deciding vote, like the last vote in America, and they're like, we're going to Noah Vargas for the last vote in America. He will decide the election. And then people would be like, that fucking asshole, it actually mattered. But in principle, you know, hey, I'm mad at you for expressing your opinion.
No, exactly. and I know that it's funny because I know that the people that treat me like this now didn't watch the whole thing. They just saw that I did it. You know what I mean? So it was about a 2-hour episode, and I explained like all my points why I felt the way I feel, and so it's funny. I had one person I was really excited to get back on the podcast. Very nice individual, very talented individual. Not
stop. I said I'd do it. Come on, buddy. You don't have to call it out like that. I told you I'd do it.
But my I've had this conversation with like a couple comedians in town, like for my own friends. Like, aren't you afraid of like some shit you're gonna say in this podcast? You're gonna if you get successful in like stand up or whatever down the road, it's gonna come back to bite you. And I'm like, and my mind says like, listen, if Rogan can have a compilation video of him saying the N-word go viral, and if Mel Gibson can levy all that shit against his wife, and he's still back to make movies like Hacksaw Ridge, and he's making Passion of the Christ too. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, the return, huh?
They're making the sequel.
Oh, that's cool.
And, yeah, it's just, if they can still all have a career, I've said nothing anywhere close to that, so I think I'll be okay.
What if they do the Book of the Mormon, where Jesus comes to North America, and what if that's the sequel? Do you think people would buy into that?
Is that what Book of Mormon's about?
No.
I've never seen the play. It's a play, right? Or did they make it into a movie?
The Book of Mormon is like a play, yeah, like a musical, but the actual Book of the Mormon, I think
it's a series of like 5 different stories that are all, or 5 different, not stories.
Yeah,
they're all different like books put together.
Okay.
One of them is like a myth. One of them is like the whole translation tale where Joseph Smith found these tablets and he's trying to tell people this is God's message,
and they're like,
only I can translate it, but it's with this stone.
Exactly.
So I knew about that.
Yeah.
I knew about that. I didn't know they were actually. Why would you want to put fake stories in your religious text if you're trying to sell it as the truth?
Oh, you're trying to be the one in control, dude. They all got to listen to you. Buy your new book. They got to listen to you. You gotta sell them somehow.
Well, right, but you want to.
They can't have caffeine no more.
Well,
wait, really?
God said so. Well,
can the
they
Mormons
can
not
have like
caffeine?
Dr. Pepper and like, but it's like it used to be more strict.
Does
and
it
things
say
like
Dr.
that.
Pepper in the book? Like, hey, you can only have 23. This blend of 23 flavors that God specifically handpicked.
that's a Christian Scientist. Like, you can only see Dr. Pepper.
But I did have a Mormon girlfriend in high school, and I broke up with her because she wouldn't have tea.
A lot of soaking.
Well, yeah, she refused to have like tea, and I was getting into iced tea, and she wouldn't have any. I was like, "This is too much." Never mind.
that's a
that
good
she was
reason.
Because of the
crazy.
caffeine?
Yeah, it's the caffeine thing.
No. So wait, you can't have. How the fuck are you supposed to have multiple wives and no caffeine?
You got to raw dog it to
That
raw dog
makes
them.
no sense.
You got to have some sweet gold locks like
Yeah,
the
you watch
dude from
Sister Wives?
Sister Wives, right?
You ever watch Sister Wives? It's this guy. He's got 4 wives, and
First
he's
of
got
all,
like 98
isn't that
children.
a fucking bad idea? 4 wives, dude? Yeah, I want 4 fucking headaches. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's a show on TLC that spans like 21 seasons or something like that. And the first season is when he's bringing in the 4th wife into the family, and he's trying to essentially put the other 3 wives on the back burner.
And the 4th wife is like the wife that's meant for fucking. Like, and not having babies and stuff, right? He's like, nah, we'll keep this.
Oh, is this the
try and
curly-headed
keep this
fuck you're
in
talking
line.
about?
Yeah. And over the seasons, look up Cody Brown Hair season
I thought
1 to now.
I thought it was Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker.
Cody Brown hair.
Oh, yeah, he's got some of the greatest hair, bro.
He's bald now.
Basically,
He
but he's
just
keeping
sold-
that hair going,
Because
dude.
he's had 4 wives.
But at least he's
oh,
still.
yeah. See, that's what happens. See, when God says you should only marry one person, you stay more or less looking like him. But by the end of it, you're a fucking heroin addict selling crocodiles out of your truck. Look at that. He sells crocodiles in an alley.
I got some swamp gators for you.
God, he's a pen pal to fucking what's his name? Tiger King? Yeah, that's his pen pal.
Dude,
But
the
there's something admirable about having like 23 kids and then being like, why don't they talk to me? I don't have a relationship
Like
with
all
them.
of them?
Oh, yeah.
They don't want a relationship with
22.
me. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, right. One died.
Of an overdose.
Yes, he did.
So he's probably not a great dad. Or maybe if he was, he just didn't, whatever happened with this kid. But it seemed like he didn't have
Yeah, the show you kind of see how much of a absentee parent you
asshole he
are,
is.
and yeah, that's just kind of it encapsulates that you have too many kids.
Well, the thing that got me is it's so creepy the level of control you have to exude over one woman, let alone 4. But like the way he has to manipulate them in order to like be the master of the household, and you're just like,
2 of
dude.
the wives have most of the jobs.
Wait, so
One of the wives basically takes care of all the house stuff, and the new wife is there for fucking. They're there for
Do
a
these
while.
women not know what they're signing up for?
One of the wives he just forces to go in the bathroom when he shits.
Wait. Okay. See, that's what I like about having you guys around and like doing your podcast. I can't tell what's a bit and what's the truth. Talking about a
either,
fucking
dude.
unreliable
Most
narrator.
of the time I can't either.
So wait, how did he trick these women?
It's the faith. It's
The
like it's
faith.
not the mainstream part of the Mormon religion anymore. It's kind of there's this guy Warren Jeffs who was like basically ostracized from the Mormon community because he's like, no, you guys need to stop progressing. We still need to be able to have as many wives and kids as we want. And they're like, no, we're moving on from all that. We're trying to get more tax dollars.
Do they Are they progressive with the blacks too? Like, are they?
No.
They're not.
No. Don't be silly.
Because you know that whole part of it, right?
No.
Where like part of the Mormon belief was that the darker skinned people were people who were cast into hell.
Oh wait, is it Mormons or Scientology where they're talking about how like people with darker skin were put here by aliens or some shit?
That might be Scientology. That's a fun
Scientology
game.
is-
That's a fun trivia game. Is it Scientology or Mormonism? And you present a crazy fucking
Like, am I
situation.
crazy or have you guys heard of that? Where like it's one of those religions that believes that black people or like darker skinned people, not just black people, but like darker skinned people were put here by aliens or some shit.
I don't know. I try not to follow schizophrenic ramblings.
The
too
thing
much.
about Scientology is I know that they believe that they dropped aliens into volcanoes, right?
Yeah.
What?
Millions of years ago.
From spaceships that look like DC-8s.
And those are thetans, right?
Yeah.
And then the thetans.
Okay, so that's the religion that
So it's
believes
basically
it. Yeah.
how many bad ghosts you got in your body. They have to read that. And the more therapy and blackmail you give them, the more clean your soul becomes.
How the hell did they get Tom Cruise? John Travolta, I understand, but Tom Cruise, that dude is so well articulated.
Well, word is that he's kind of pulling away slowly, but he still funds a major part. Like a lot of their money came from
Yeah, he's like their
his
president.
movies, and they support a lot of his movies actually. So,
Right.
but I love the stunts, so I'll still go.
Well, he's
Send
one
him
of
to
the
space.
He's one of the greatest actors to ever live.
What's up with his face? Do you think because there's been a lot of news
This is the
about
second
his face recently,
celebrity
right?
face that we're dissecting here.
Because at first, you remember how they had him at like it was a Yankees game, and his face was all puffy, and they're like, "What's up with his face?" And then they had him.
Wasn't he just wearing a Tom Cruise mask?
Maybe that shit's real these days. Like you could get a real printed mask, 3D printed mask that
Molded
looks
to your
like someone.
face.
That's so fucking.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this looks fake. Wait a minute. This is he talking about this? Because that looks fake as fuck.
Yes, this one, right?
He looks like
Look like he's just living in a buffet.
yeah, it looks like someone put a Norm Macdonald filter over him.
Oh man, that face, right? It's just all blah.
Like, I mean, there is not one single solitary celebrity in the B-list or above in Hollywood that has zero plastic surgery.
Sometimes do you ever do that? You go to you guys probably don't yet, but go to the mirror and be like, oh, what would that look like? Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. And then you do it to your dick and you're like, oh, what would that look like? No foreskin, okay.
If I just stopped beating the fuck out of it, maybe it would hydrate for once. Moisturize a little. Well, no, man, I believe in the Bruce Willis method, dude, where it's just like,
Stop
hey,
talking.
You,
Get confused, shit in your pants.
Forget English.
as I was saying that sentence, I was like, this is the wrong argument to levy against these people. But no, his method was always like, hey, now granted it took him the way it took him, so whatever. I don't think plastic surgery affects the brain too much, but it's, you age the way you age. If you're balding, you're balding. If you get wrinkly, you're getting wrinkly. That's just how you're an animal. You're a human. Your skin is just a big organ. You don't take care of it enough, it's gonna fucking rot.
True.
It's gonna happen. It is what I kind of go along that method. And I say that with some of the driest hands in this neighborhood, but. It's wintertime. What the fuck are you gonna? I will not take care of my hand until my knuckles start bleeding.
Really?
It's a horrible trait that I have.
It's purely reactionary care for your hands.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever, back in the day, I don't know if you've done this, but you had to clean something off with gasoline. Whatever you're cleaning off with gasoline. For me, it used to be spark plugs.
Where are you from?
Body USA. But then you like wash your spark
That's how
plugs
old
with
he is.
gasoline.
They were able to use gasoline as a cleaning
dude.
I
product.
remember it.
What?
Definitely. And then you'd like clean your spark plugs, make them all shiny and new.
Instead
and,
of using like a different chemical to clean.
No
it.
shit.
you'd notice every single cut and opening on your hands as
Oh,
soon as you
I'm
started
sure.
the gasoline.
Oh,
but they'd
I'm
be
sure.
clean. So light them on fire afterwards. You're all set to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've ever used gasoline for anything other than powering my vehicle.
Yeah, it's definitely a chemical solvent.
Huff.
It just puts off a lot of fumes.
Well,
You ever done any huffing? huffing back in the day.
closest-
Mid school.
Choking game.
Close. Okay, are we talking about two different things? The
Different things.
choking
Yeah.
game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
What?
I was too scared of doing real drugs.
So what would you do? You choke yourself?
That was the thing, but I didn't do that either. Me and my friends would light each other on fire with Axe body spray, and we were accused of huffing.
Oh, we definitely. So when I was at military
Fire,
school, we
right?
would what we would do is we would because each room had this just like a blank wall behind the door, so we would get like the Axe body spray and like draw a dick on it, a dick on the wall, then light it on fire, then immediately put it out, and then just clean the wall afterwards. Make sure there weren't any burn marks or shit like that.
Yeah.
But huffing. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you like,
No, I would. It was always
or
the
you like turn over the gas can and you're like,
no. It was always the old EXO dry erase markers.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing I got to it. It was
Or
just
just
and like
do a
element
tissue
Yeah.
and-
There's elementary school. Okay, I didn't know about the tissue thing. I knew about the paper thing, but not, it just you have it. We thought like shaking it would make it more potent. Crack that would be like,
oh, damn,
in
man.
elementary school. Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I think like as I was entering high school is when they started putting out the like non-toxic.
yeah, the one that wouldn't get you.
Started nerfing the markers.
Yeah, pretty much started taking the fun out of it. Like that and Michelle Obama taking all the fucking vending machines out of schools. Fuck you, give me my lemonade. You know what I mean? Like I still have a bad limit. Like, dude, my lemonade addiction is so fucking bad. So at Costco they sell these two giant things of lemonade for $4 or $5.99, right? These,
Sweet deal.
yeah, it's amazing. And my stupid ass looks at it and I'm like, yeah, it's just like it's made with cane sugar. It's not high fructose corn syrup. It's not the worst thing in the world for you. Whatever. I blow through both of those jugs in like 5 days, maybe. I did that for like 2 weeks straight, and I started getting fucking like pimples again, and just how my body reacts to sugar. I'm like, oh, okay, we need to stop with the fucking lemonade. But yeah, now that I said it out loud, maybe that's why Michelle Obama took away our lemonade and the vending machines.
Like,
but listen,
I can't stop. I just can't.
listen, Big Mike does not know what's good for the children.
So this was what kind of drink was this again?
Lemonade.
Lemonade,
Just
like the
regular
powder
lemonade.
kind, or
No, dude. So they had like Coca-Cola or like Pepsi vending machines in my high school.
Oh, yeah.
Or, no, sorry, in my elementary school. And we're like, you just put $1 in, you got the fucking drink out. But then when, because I was in, and we had one in our middle school as well. It was a tiny middle school that I went to. We had one, and so I was in 6th grade when Obama got elected, and then like I was like in 7th grade, so like a year and a half or so later is when Michelle Obama's kickstarted that huge initiative where it's like we're gonna make cafeterias healthier, and we're gonna take all the vending machines out of the middle schools and the high schools and the elementary schools, make this so like kids don't have like they were drugs, like they're not gonna have easy access to the high sugar drinks and all that type of shit. Meanwhile, the school lunches are like actively poisoning kids. We know that now. But it is what it is.
My school always went with the
Your
lowest.
skill?
My school, they always went with the lowest bidder for that food. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like
Well,
worse than like public school food.
because most of the time it was probably Sodexo, right?
No, Canteen.
Oh shit, I ain't even heard of them.
Yeah, I think they serve the prisons.
I was saying, this dude's getting fucking army rations.
do you guys remember did you guys have the hamburgers in high school?
Those shitty wrapped ones.
Yeah, those were so good.
There would always be like a hard
I
spot in
loved
one of the
them,
burgers.
yeah. And like some of them, like if you tried to peel the bun apart, like
just
no way
come
that
right-
bun's
yeah.
coming. It's
No.
just
It was attached. It did too much steam.
It's like those fucking command strips, dude. Well, because in high school, the school that I went to, we had Sodexo, and I remember at least once every 2 weeks they would give us Christmas fish, and it was this,
Christmas fish?
That's the correct response.
Christmas in July.
Yeah. So what it was this piece like. We assumed it was supposed to be tilapia or some shit, but what it was this breaded piece of fish that had like this red and green seasoning on it, and it was supposed to make it spicy, but it just made it taste fucking horrible. And every time that you ate that, at least for me, and I know for a couple of my other friends, we had like 30 minutes to get somewhere safe before our bowels just evacuated, dude.
I feel like I know what those are, and I liked them.
It was not good. It was not fun. Yeah, that place was a fucking trip. Like the eggs, you'd either get powdered eggs or liquid eggs in the morning. Nice. And the powdered eggs always, like if you cut them, like you get them in like a small pile, right? And if you cut in the middle and like open them, it looked like fucking SpongeBob in the middle. But then if you had the liquid eggs, it was like drinking eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like drinking scrambled. That was so fucking
Sounds
The
good.
dry eggs are cool because you just get a spoonful and chop it right down. Skip
Yeah.
the middleman.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, that was a fucking trip. Are both of you guys from New Mexico?
Yeah.
Are you?
Born and raised here in Albuquerque, I'm assuming?
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah. All my life. I moved out of New Mexico for now it's like a month. I moved to Boise, Idaho. Did
Quitter.
I talk about this last time?
I don't think, even if you did, who gives a fuck?
For a chick. And that's what we called them back then. And this is like 1997, summer of 97.
Before we had all these hybrids running around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't even have a third option in my day. You fucking ingrates.
You had to settle for what was around.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
Passive.
jokes about that is Sam Talent, where he's talking about fucking a transgender. And he goes, "My wife, I got one of these analog ladies." He goes, "Oh, what?" He goes, "With these transgenders, a woman, a chick with a dick, a woman you can trust." But anyway, so you moved to Idaho.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool, but it only lasted like a month. So
Which month?
July. No, it lasted from the end of July to the end of August, and that
So
was
you could have been around for the corn sweat.
I could have.
The fuck is the corn
Sweat happens when it's like, high humidity days and the corn stalks and the cornfields start to perspire water. The air gets like past a dew point at like 90 degrees and it'll just, it's corn sweat. It sweeps through areas. It fucks things up.
That sounds
It
horrible.
creates such a level
Yeah,
of
right.
humidity that like fungus will grow on all the corn, make it blue, make it puff up all crazy, make it a delicacy.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you're growing corn for ethanol and, big
Right.
money that way, government subsidies. But if you want to eat some corn smut, if you're a fan of the smut, are you a smut fan?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
No, but you like fry it up. It's like tacos. It's like a delicacy, apparently.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Corn fungus becomes a delicacy and you can put it in tacos.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I wouldn't put that in my tacos.
No.
Yeah,
No,
I
fuck
can't.
no.
Yeah, no. I think I'd rather put toe fungus in that before I put my actual corn fungus. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you live in Idaho, or do you just know this because you're a fucking? Oh, hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like gardening.
Congratulations on your giant pumpkin.
Ah, thank you.
How did? Let's finish the girlfriend story. So,
No, that's all there is to it. It didn't work out. I ended up driving back to Albuquerque. But that drive from Albuquerque to Boise, Idaho, also on the way over there, I picked up a cat that I didn't know, and
You
there
got
was
some
no
pussy out
cat
of it.
carrier.
There you go.
There was no cat carrier, so I just put him in my car. I've never met this cat before, and this cat was like, "What the fuck are you doing taking me away from this place?" I was taking it to like my girlfriend who had left it there on accident. Long story. But
wait, so she broke up with you. You're driving back and you find a random
this was
cat.
on the way up there.
Oh, on the way up there.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay,
I'll bring
okay.
your cat to you. Sure, no problem. It's like it had gotten out what they were moving. Someone found it. So I stopped,
okay.
pick up the cat. Never met this cat, but we smoked so much weed together that it started to get really cool with me. And that was like the drive from Albuquerque to Boise. I would recommend that fucking drive. It's pretty amazing, dude, driving that far just in a couple of days, because I think that's definitely an interesting way to see. I mean, it's nice to have more time, but when you just got to keep driving, like at one point I was driving for 18 hours and I was like, man, this is fucking nuts, dude. But
The furthest I've ever driven was from here to Kentucky.
oh shit, that's a long time, right?
It's a 22 or 21 and a half hour drive. And I did going there and coming back. I did it all in one shot. Yeah. And going there, I'd never seen that part of the country. So I was all fucking excited. And I was also a lot younger. I was like 20. was like 20, I think, 2021 around there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I've never seen this part of the country before. This is sweet. So I was like, threw a fucking lip in, had a few mockers, and just drove.
Yeah.
I had a great time. Stopped now and again, take a piss, take a shit, whatever. But then driving back, I was just like, fuck, this sucks.
Just tired.
Yeah, tired as shit. Oh yeah. But anyway, so you driving all the way to Idaho.
Oh, yeah. And then, I just drove. Stayed there about a month, came back. The drive back was mostly in the daytime, so it was a lot more scenic, but I don't know that I was in the greatest of moods to appreciate it. But that was that was also cool. But yeah, just driving a long distance on a road trip by yourself is very different. A lot of time to think,
Oh,
You ever
yeah.
made a long drive like that, Alan?
Not by myself, no. I think the longest I've done is like 6.5 hours by myself.
Yeah, that's pretty like to Phoenix, right?
Yeah, Denver.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's quick though.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice drive on the mountains you go through and shit like that.
Yeah, I didn't get to appreciate that one.
Nah.
It was, my dad was having a surgery. He got a liver replacement. That was cool.
Oh,
It
shit.
worked out well for him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But, so it was another one of those where it was great part of the year, couldn't appreciate the drive.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's up with the fucking pumpkin, dude? How'd that come about?
I like growing pumpkins. I mean, they've had the big ones at the state fair when I was littler, I guess. And they had that episode of Hey Arnold where they play cards in the big pumpkin. You remember that?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I think that probably was in there subconsciously there for a long time. So I was like, that'd be cool
That's
to make
funny.
one that's that big. But yeah, I just tried over a couple years growing a little pumpkin and seeing genetics for bigger ones, finding out those were not good enough seeds, wasted a season. Tried again, no pesticides that year, killed the plant from disease, and so this last year I just kind of upped my game, more food, more pesticides, fungicides.
Oh, yeah,
went nuclear with it, and had to like cover up my face and everything, and no exposed skin because some of these chemicals like are definitely considered carcinogens outside of the state of California.
One of them was like Agent something, DD something.
Holy shit.
A good wrestler, right?
How long did it take you to learn how to do all this?
A couple seasons, but you really start applying the knowledge when it's working. So the last year my pumpkin was probably like 25 pounds, and then it got soft and died on me. So this year it was a lot more of like, oh shit, this is actually working. So I need to get a mist system so the plant gets cool, and there's all these little tricks like keeping the local humidity of the plant as high as possible so the fruit skin doesn't dry out, so it eases the growth and doesn't split on you. And there's a lot of different variables, but yeah.
What? How much water does it take? Does it take a couple gallons?
Yeah. Are you the reason we're still in a drought, you piece of shit?
A bottle of Dasani. It takes probably watering it 3 or 4 times a day.
Talk about pesticides. He's feeding this fucking plant Dasani water.
Oh yeah.
This thing's a nuclear reactor waiting to blow.
Well, all you have to do to kill the pests off is leave your Dasani bottled water in the sun for a couple days. Those EPAs will seep into the water, and then you just pour it over the pumpkin, right?
Dude, when we were overseas in Africa, the flies were so fucking bad during the day. Like, and these aren't just like regular flies. These things are like no shit, like probably like that
Oh,
big.
damn.
They're fucking huge.
I hate those big purple, black blowflies, whatever. They're all like all fat bodies, dude. All
Yeah.
the John Panettes of the fly world.
You punch them out of the air; they're so big.
No, you could literally like you would swap. Granted, if you this is not an exaggeration, you would wave your hand through the air and probably catch like 8. And you could, it's like,
Do they die easy if you just give them a? You like to do that? You ever be walking?
Yeah,
Just start
they
shadow boxing.
They just keep going, dude. So what we did is we would get the bottles of water and like right where the bottle turns into the spout, right? We would cut it right there, and then flip the like the hole. I don't know, like the drinking. What the fuck you call it? Like the nozzle, the top of the bottle.
Yeah, the opening.
The opening, whatever. Yeah, you turn that upside down and put it into the bottle, and then you fill it up about a quarter way or so with Gatorade.
Oh yeah.
And all the flies would get attracted to the sugar and the syrup, and they would fly in, but they weren't smart enough to fly back out.
So they fall into the liquid.
And well, even the ones that weren't falling in the liquid, they all just get trapped in there. And dude, we would fill up a half bottle of water like that in maybe 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Of just all these flies just, and it smelled like fucking death. And, oh my God. Yeah. And then a couple times we would set them on fire just because we were so fucking angry at them. Oh yeah, dude. It got so bad a couple of days. And I have a picture of it somewhere, but me and my buddy were in a guard tower, and our squad leader came up to bring us lunch, right? And he's like, to go trace, we weren't able to step down. And so he was like, if you guys want to eat, I'll pull guard. I'm like, all right, sounds good. And we had these giant industrial fans in the towers. And during the day, they didn't really work that well in cooling you down because it was just circulating super hot air.
Yeah.
So what we did, though, is we would have to turn it on medium and then stand in front of it with our food so that the flies wouldn't be able to land on the food.
On the food.
Yeah. So they would just keep getting blown away. Oh, my God.
Is that what the MREs? Is that what you're having? Or is it like real food?
So we had MREs out there, but they had, because there was like a main installation that we would stay at a little bit, but most of our time was at this air base that we were guarding. And they had they weren't hard structures, but they had tents where they set up, they would bring in food from the main installation and truck it in. And they put on heaters and stuff, and we'd get served that way. So it wasn't too bad because the main installation was a Navy base, and the food was actually pretty fucking good. I'm not even gonna lie. It was
that's
pretty
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking good. Whenever we were there, I made myself their version of a spicy deluxe from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get the fucking. They had just endless buffalo sauce. Get a piece of chicken. Couple pieces of cheese, smother it, and just fucking. Yeah.
What's your preferred cheese?
What am I making
for something like chicken, like Swiss, or are you thinking cheddar sometimes?
So for a meatball sub, you have to go provolone.
Oh yeah, right.
That's the accepted doctrine. Maybe American if you want to get a little fun with it, but provolone for that. If I'm making just a regular sub, or a sandwich, probably Swiss.
Yeah,
Swiss is the shit, dude.
It's pretty good.
And then if I'm making an egg sandwich, American cheese. But even then, Swiss is still good.
Yeah, egg sandwich, it has to be toast, right?
Yeah.
I find if you have bread, it crumbles.
Well, bagels fuck.
It has no structure.
Oh yeah,
bagel sandwich.
Yeah,
a bagel, bacon and egg sandwich with over medium eggs. Just so the yolk breaks just enough to get a little slutty. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out! I started putting even if I'm not making an omelet, but I'm just making a bunch of eggs, I'll put some feta cheese in there. Get the fuck out!
Oh, nice.
Smells like fucking death. The heated, not like death, but does it smell good? Just the heated feta cheese in the pan.
In Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, cooking foot and cock.
Yeah, I fuck with feta cheese hard, dude.
Well, back to flies. No, I think feta cheese is definitely one of my favorite cheeses, especially if you have some olives or some lettuce, make a nice salad. That
Greek
kind
salad,
of thing.
fuck yeah.
But back to flies, seriously, because I was wondering about this. I was at my dad's house. He lives out in Los Lunas, and they don't have trash pickup where he lives, so we have to go to the transfer station, the trash dump off.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived in a place where you guys know about these places, right? The dump.
Yeah.
You take your trash so they can take your trash.
Yeah, exactly. So we do that every 3 weeks or so. And 1 week, I piled all the shit in there, covered up with the tarp because I'm a good boy. I don't want shit flying out. Some people will just be like, no, I'll just fucking take off, whatever. But I cover that shit up good. And it was stank because it'd been 3 weeks. And I was like, it's not too bad. I'll just load everything up. Got all full of trash and, stinking like shit. And just, there's a bunch of flies out there because of the cat litter. But I noticed there's a bunch of flies out there, and because of there's some rotting food, and they just followed the trash can. Even when I closed the lid, they hovered above the trash can as I moved it. And I was like, I wonder if they know they're going to fly heaven. They're like, this place is pretty cool, but then they're like, I take them to this place where it's nothing but shit and rotting and fucking a bunch of other flies to fuck and look at.
Isn't it true that flies only live for a day?
3 days or 2 days?
I think it's a couple days. I've definitely seen one flying around my house for longer than 2 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a few days is what I wanted, but it's not very long.
Yeah, so a short amount of time.
But I've read somewhere that all flies are actually born with progeria, so that's probably
The fuck is every time that we sit down together, you use words I don't even think are real.
I would say that's a hack word, right, Ellen? Would you say it's hack?
It's a little dated at this point. Yeah.
What the hell is progeria?
It's a horrible thing. There was actually like a really cool documentary about 10 years ago about this kid that had progeria. It was super sad because a few years later he passed away. But it's those kids that have that disease that makes them age, like Benjamin Button in
Like
reverse.
they'll look 95 years old and be 8.
Yeah, because they have this gene that just makes their body age like a accelerated rate.
Shit.
So they only live to like 12, 13, or 14 at the most.
But they win a lot of bingo.
They do. But that's progeria, so I was speculating that that's why flies didn't live a long time.
See, that's a great reference if I read more. I think I read, and then I speak to people like you, and I'm like, yeah, these are words that I've never fucking heard of.
Well, speaking of reading, have you ever checked out, I just been gooning this past week to Robert E. Howard. Have you ever read his stuff from Conan? The guy who wrote Conan.
Like the original comics? Or the novels?
Yeah, like the novels back in the day. And then this was before Tolkien, dude. This is like in the 1930s. His first story came out in 32 or 33 in Strange Tales. And Robert E. Howard, the more I find out about this motherfucker, the more I'm like, whoa, this guy was a trip. So when his mom got sick and died, one day he just walks out. I think he just walked outside of his house and put a gun to his head and blew his head off because he was a little sad about that. So he's a pretty wacky dude, but he...
I hope he gets so better.
I think he's doing well. But his biography is crazy. And then Conan, like what we know about...
30 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he looks rather dapper, right? He looks like he's from the fucking 30s.
He looks like a fucking gangster.
So definitely, if you like, and this literature is what I would call classic, but it's easy to read and understand because some of it's not. And that's what's kind of captured me. But it's a bunch of tales about this guy, Conan. It's not necessarily, well, it's non-linear. And his explanation was, what did you recoil at?
Oh, because I'm listening to what you're saying. But it says, so Howard's suicide and the circumstances surrounding it here led to speculation about his mental health. Okay, duh. But his mother had been ill with tuberculosis her entire life, and upon learning she had entered a coma from which she was not expected to wake, he walked out to his car parked outside his kitchen window and shot himself in the head while sitting in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
He died 8 hours later.
Must have been some bad traffic.
What the fuck?
Get this man to the living room.
All right, let's take a quick break.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna reattach the thing below you.
Oh shit! I keep.
No, it's not your fault. It is not.
It is my fault.
It happens.
That's what
almost
my
every
parents
time.
said.
This is my one of my lazy points in the studio is not getting this back up to snuff where it should be.
What do we have like that in the studio, Alan? It used to be the sound card.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, the sound card was one.
That was the bane of our existence for a good year.
Well,
right?
with that computer,
That should be good. All right. All righty, and we're back. Okay, so this guy creates Conan,
Yeah.
and before blowing his head off, what were you learning about this guy?
Just that if you look at Conan, it's like the exact opposite of who he was. He was like this meek, unhealthy guy, but he wrote this character that was like really powerful and not the smartest guy, but would still outwit his opponents, and sometimes he couldn't overpower them. And so I started listening to the books on tape for his novels, and I was like, I want to know more about this guy. So I listened to a couple biographies about him, and the more I found out about him, like, this guy's pretty crazy. He was friends with that crazy H.P. Lovecraft. If you know anything about all that stuff, yeah.
I'm a fan of his. I like his
Cthulhu
work
and stuff. Yeah.
So what's crazy about him? So obviously for people, you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So do you know he was like a crazy racist, right?
Yeah.
like incredible racist. So, did you know that?
I wasn't aware of that.
Oh yeah,
no.
so insane racist, right?
H.P.
Yeah,
Lovecraft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
More like H.P. Hatecraft.
But so what happens is, so he was alive during one of the great migrations of Jewish people into America. So
He was none too happy about it.
He was terrified of Jewish people, blacks, gypsies, and homosexuals.
Gypsies.
That was his. My wife. That's probably the best Borat impression I've ever done. I'll never do it. I don't know where that came from. I'll never do it that well again. You guys are lucky to have that. Anyway, so I have this collection of his stories in my library. And he, this lady that was talking about him and describing his life, there's a whole section, and she breaks it down by sections, and it's literally called H.P. Lovecraft and Racism. And so she's talking about it, and he was such, and what can be taken out of, or not taken out of context, but like taken from context in his stories, small interviews that have been found and interactions with his family members, because he wasn't very close to his family at all. He's a bit of a recluse, from what I understand, and he had a wife, but very abusive, that type of thing. He was abusive towards her, from what I understand, and his hatred towards minorities was so strong, like genuinely, like hateful, which was ironic because he was of Jewish descent, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe he was of Jewish descent. But his hatred towards minorities was so strong that most people that study his life can assume, more than likely correctly, they can assume that is what fueled, because his whole thing about writing was like the fear of the unknown, right? Yeah. The fear of these, like, so you see where this is going.
There's a lot of unknowns coming into my neighborhood.
The chair in the corner of the hotel room.
So it's the fear of like these cosmic beings, these elder gods, Cthulhu, the thing you can't see, what goes bump in the night, all that kind of stuff. It's assumed by all these people that study his work that his strong racism, that's what translated into like him writing about the fear of the unknown, because he had such a hatred for all these people that were coming in. It's the whole like it gets associated with the Aryan society a lot, like the Great Replacement theory.
Oh yeah,
it's like the early versions of that.
Okay.
Right? That's the best way I can kind of compare it. It's like they're gonna come in here, they're gonna ruin our white race, they're gonna ruin the population, they're gonna take our women, all that kind of type of stuff. He felt that way about minorities. So when you read the way that he writes about his characters interacting with these elder gods and being scared out of their mind, but they can't describe why, there's a lot of correlation there.
I could see that.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy. Like, could you imagine being so fueled with hatred towards a group of people that you start writing these stories that
you become the biggest sci-fi writer?
Yeah, you become like the godfather of science fiction writing. There's literally a subgenre of horror called Lovecraftian horror.
True, yeah.
That is getting a huge resurgence over the last like 8 years or so. But like, and I think it's hilarious how like, because a lot of not to make conservatives sound like they're not well read, but a lot of the reading types tend to be middle of the road or liberal. That tends to be how it is. And you see I've seen a lot of these people on like, whether it's like on Reddit or like Facebook groups, they get suggested to me about H.P. Lovecraft. Like, oh, his works are so great or whatever, and there's a bunch of like blue-haired people and fucking gender ambiguous. I'm glad you enjoy the work, and it's great. I don't agree with anything that he had to say about people, but he would have fucking hated you. He would have fucking hated you. But it's just great. Have you guys? Are you guys big movie fans?
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of movies? If you like that type of horror, it's a bit corny. It's a bit on the B movie side of things. They didn't have a huge budget, but The Void. Have you seen that?
I think I was watching that earlier, last week.
What's that about?
Great fucking movie. So I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's about these people are in a small town, and it's like a couple of civilians, a sheriff, and they get they're all in this this small hospital. And just weird shit starts happening. And then this like cult shows up. And I don't want to spoil it because the end, all of their budget is at the end of the movie. For great reasons. But all of the budget's at the end. And it just goes balls to the fucking wall. And it's great. It's a great fucking movie. Like, that's really good. and then Color Out of Space, which is a direct adaptation of one of his stories.
Okay.
With Nicolas Cage. That one came out a few years ago, and that one was fucking dope too.
All right.
Really dope movie.
What's that one about?
Basically, this giant meteor comes to Earth, and it starts in like the radiation or like the color coming off of it starts fucking with the environment. Like if you've ever seen Annihilation's based on that story with Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
That's a crazy fucking movie.
Yeah.
First time I saw that movie, I was on mushrooms. Don't watch that movie on mushrooms. It will fuck. Especially because have you seen it?
I've seen parts of it. I tried to watch it, and I was like, it wasn't cohesive enough for me, I guess, is what it was.
That's the whole point. But at the end of it, dude, you should really watch it.
I watched most of it.
Because the end is the end. There's like a 10-minute sequence. I don't want to give it all the way.
I read the synopsis. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
like the end was.
There's this sequence at the end of like 10 minutes where Natalie Portman, there are no lines. And it's just Natalie Portman wrestling with this being. And it is, not to sound like some fucking liberal fruitcake, but like one of the greatest cinematic expressions I've ever seen in my life.
That's pretty awesome.
Of internal struggle. It's beautiful. But then that on mushrooms, oh my God. It's crazy. Crazy good fucking movie.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. Are you guys big horror heads? Big into horror movies?
I love horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
I watched the new Terrifier movie. That was pretty good.
Fuck yeah.
When it comes to big gory movies, that you can't go wrong.
You like the Splatterfest?
Yeah.
Did you watch
Especially
the Terrifier?
in a theater.
Nah, I just like to watch Ukrainian drone videos.
You know what?
Dude, those are, and it's like our invading neighbor is fine. It's merely a flesh wound. He will be back on the front lines in no time. I'm like, dude, his torso is gone. He's not going back out.
Well, so I saw this video. I want to comment on Terrifiers. I was actually debating whether or not to wear this sweater or my Terrifier sweater.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's funny.
Yeah, wait a second. Real quick, just to address this, I'm always asking this guy about, is it just me, or do you stay up until 1 or 2 just scrolling through death videos sometimes? I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just get stuck doing it.
Yeah.
He's like, that's fucking sick. But did you see Terrifier where the guy chops the chick in half with a fucking chainsaw from the crotch up?
I'm sorry. Hey, wait a minute. I have to protest really quick. She was upside down, and it was from the crotch down, not the crotch
Gravity
up.
did most of the work, John.
This is and it was a rusty hacksaw. So, that guy's got crazy forearm, and he knows how to use crazy forearms, and he knows how to use gravity with him. All right? He works with the grain, not against the grain, with the grain.
How about,
Plus, they set up the story to make you hate these people.
well, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
Not in Terrifier 2 or 3, but definitely in the first one.
In the third one, in that shower scene, you definitely start to hate those two people.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And he really gives it to them, John.
Do you like the splatter gore movies?
I'll watch them, but it's not like...
the story is more
it's
important
not
to you?
there's other stuff that I'd watch before.
That's
but
fair.
if like a horror movie's on,
Yeah.
I won't be like, I can't watch this.
So think of like any classic like splatter movie from like the late 70s into the 80s, like ones that come to mind.
Evil Dead?
Well, Evil Dead,
Chainsaw.
but the one where it's not Psycho. It's not called Psycho. It's called it's about the dude with the weird mustache that goes around scalping people in the 80s. He's a taxi driver. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Oh, and it got remade with Elijah Wood. And the remake's fucking terrible. It's oh my God, it's gonna bug the shit out of me. But the reason I bring this up is because this movie is considered like one of the most violent, like the splatter gore movies that have been made. Terrifier 3 knocks it up to like a 15 out of 10.
Does it?
Oh my God, the shit they like. Well, first of all, the movie isn't rated, right? So they didn't even get away with an R rating. But the fact that movie got a wide release the way it did, Maniac
In movie theater.
That's what it's called.
Oh,
You ever seen
Maniac.
Maniac?
Yeah. I've seen parts of it. Yeah, not all of it though.
It's not bad. It's not the best thing ever made, but it's a fun 90 minutes. But yeah, dude, the things they get away with in that movie. And they show you everything.
Oh,
like
really?
they show you everything. Man, I saw that shit in theaters too.
Yeah.
The visceral fucking experience, and then like looking around and seeing other people react to it, like, bro.
Well, what was your reaction when you saw a lot of the gore?
Well, I was expecting it. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the first two, so I was expecting it. But like, it's not even spoiling it because I could tell you what happens, and you don't really get the full effect of it till you see it. So there's a shower scene where he cuts this chick up right with a chainsaw and fucks with her a little bit.
Yeah.
But then he
Standard
goes.
stuff.
But then he goes after the boyfriend. Cuts the boyfriend in one of the legs. He falls down. Trying to crawl away, he cuts both of his Achilles tendons. Then he's like, ah, fuck. Then he goes up to him. And is he laying on his back or in his stomach?
I think he's on his it's butt up.
Yeah, it's butt up,
So
right?
he's
On his stomach.
he's got some shower glass on his chest too. It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's laying on his stomach, crawling away. And Art the Clown has his chainsaw. And he
Dressed
goes...
as Santa, by the way.
Dressed up as Santa. Yeah, good
It's a
point.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a
Bring the
Christmas
kids.
Yes.
There was a
Holiday-
kid. There was a kid sitting next to me.
Holiday. Oh my God. Holiday cheer.
Don't lie. He was sitting on your lap, Alan.
This dude gets the chainsaw and aims right for this dude's asshole
Oh, yeah.
and just hits the mark perfectly.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't like cut through the body. He digs around the groin area.
You see some meat flopping around. at
Oh
one
no!
point.
You see a dick get cut in half.
Yeah.
Because the dude happens, he's getting him with it, and he's like digging into him.
Yeah.
And he pulls it out once. The guy flips around on his back, and he goes back in and just right in the middle of the balls, dude. Just
No, wait. You know, DeSantis is going to have that guy arrested for providing health care.
Gender affirming care.
How old was this guy? 'Cause DeSantis, you know, he's going to have a problem. Saw the movie and was like, wait, is that a conversion right there?
If he wanted this, he's getting charges.
he's gonna for giving health care. Oh, that's funny. Holy fuck.
You know, in those instances, I like I'm not against those types of movies, but
Yeah.
I find myself like being like, how did they do that? Like, obviously, it was like they
Yeah.
had like this practical effect
So-
they're using, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about that stuff more so than like I guess I'm so far removed from the gore that I'm more fascinated about the technical
I
aspect
agree
about that.
and I completely agree with you. Because I couldn't sit through like I couldn't marathon Terrifier because the plot and the writing are not good.
The
they're-
second one's long.
And the second one's about almost 2.5 hours.
And there's some scenes where you're like, this could definitely
Well, in
be
this
cut
one,
down.
the third one was even 220, right?
Yeah.
215,
But
220.
I feel like this one passed through pretty quickly.
Yeah, the pacing was a lot better.
yeah.
But still, like, it's still it's a movie where you can't marathon it because, like, it just becomes a slog to get to the big parts.
Yeah.
But I completely agree about the practical effects, and because I grew up watching like the George Romero movies, and then watching like the John Carpenter films. So like, especially like as I got into high school, and I started looking into like the behind the scenes of the movies, like middle school, high school. Because I was the dork that I would always watch like the special features on the DVD. you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, because we only had like we had like just the basic TV, so like not a lot of TV to watch. So I would just blow through the whole DVD that I had. And so I remember watching, for instance, the remake of Dawn of the Dead that Zack Snyder did.
Yeah.
The special features on that are fucking crazy. Like they show you how they do all the splatters, how they do like the gunshot
that's cool.
effects, how like they would because you guys have seen the remake, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you remember at the very end where the douchebag dude Steve, who's played by the guy who's in Modern Family, how he turns into a zombie at the end and they have to pop him in the head?
Yeah.
They had this whole like this small plastic, maybe like that big plastic tubing running up his back that ran off camera, and they had it hooked up to an air pressure, and they had all the blood back there, and so the tube, it like ran to the back of his head and out. So whenever it came time for them to kill him, they would have to time it right with the actress pulling the trigger, and then they would press the button, and that'd be like a second delay so the air could travel through and blow the blood out the back of his head.
That's so cool.
So shit like that, you know? And then like with Tom Savini in the 70s and the 80s just being the fucking practical effects god.
And nowadays it'd just be like, okay, yeah, just add the blood, do it in post, just add it right there digitally, and you're like, no, we can tell. You can always tell.
And one of the and then one of the biggest offenders of that is the fucking Expendables movies.
Oh, really?
I think the first Expendables they used practical blood, but the second and third one it was all digital blood squibs.
Boo.
And it just looked like a fucking video game effect in real life.
Yeah,
and that's not good. Nobody wants that. Like, if you've got a crazy budget, shave a couple million off each actor and put that towards practical effects. Especially if it's supposed to be an homage to these 80s classics, where there's just blood, guts, and tits flying everywhere. Don't you want it to be practical?
Well, how about, like, the scene where Sean Connery gets shot in The Untouchables? Did you ever see that movie with...
Is this a bit?
No. Okay. Sean Connery, he's in this. They were called the Untouchables because they were unbribable. They're the guys that went after Al Capone, and the movie's very Hollywoodized version of what actually happened. But Kevin Costner plays Elliot Ness, the guy who's got a hard-on for fucking Al Capone. Robert De Niro plays Al Capone. He's pretty good at it. There's a scene where he has a bat at a dinner, and he decides to tell his fucking henchman who the fucking boss is. That alone, for the practical effects, is definitely worth it. But one of the best scenes in cinema history with regards to squib work, because it was so fucking dangerous, is Sean Connery being lit up by, like, I don't know, it was like 20 squibs, dude. They said it like burned his eye and he was all pissed off afterwards. But the director was like, I don't give a fuck. It looked great. But The Untouchables, dude, if you have not seen that, that's a crime drama that is definitely worth watching. Have you ever seen that, Alan?
I don't believe I have.
Very cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm looking at the cast of this right now.
Fucking amazing, right?
Holy shit.
Has that one bald guy from American Graffiti that nobody knows. And I can't think of
Andy, no, it's not Andy Garcia.
but Andy Garcia's in that, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Sean Connery and who's that old guy now?
Well, I'm looking to
Robert
see
De Niro.
who the this guy from American Graffiti is that you're talking about.
Oh yeah, he's just the bald guy. If you see him, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that guy was a person."
That's
Kind of like Ron Howard. Not Ron Howard's brother, was it
Clint Howard? Clint Howard. Yeah, he was in Terrifier 3. He was Clint Howard was in the bar scene.
Where Santa, with the real Santa.
Yeah, and where Art pisses on Santa's pants.
Yeah, and he's sitting on Santa's lap, and he's all excited that he pees himself. That's one of the things I like about those movies. Is
there's plenty of funny moments.
Well, because like there's funny moments, but every so often Art will just pull out a gun and just kill someone. Like, normally he has like
the pacing changes so rapidly. He'll be like sitting there torturing someone, taking his time, and then he just turns around and boom.
Yeah, he blows his head off.
Oh shit! Okay, I guess that's done.
Very good movie. I also watched recently the Substance with Demi Moore.
Huh. What's that about?
Oh, dude, it's a body horror movie to the extreme.
Really?
It's a body image horror movie, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. And
it's got bad body image, girl. This movie's for you.
It's with Demi Moore, and she plays this actress / model that's aging out of her prime. Studio doesn't really want her, that type of thing, and she has this. So I went in blind to it, and this is going to be on a streaming service here pretty soon. And and it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, almost 2.5, but it flies by. And I suggest you watch it. It's if you like Cronenberg's movies.
Oh yeah,
you'll love this. So all I'll say, it's about her aging out of her prime as an actress in Hollywood, and she mysteriously gets access to this thing called the Substance. It's supposed to make her younger. And that's all I knew about it going into it. And the way it unravels, and she just falls down this pit physically and mentally, and the way it ends, the way it climaxes, you're going to love it or you're going to hate it, because it just goes full bore insanity. But it is so fucking
Does it give you a clear, defined ending?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's so crazy. Like, it is so just bananas that it's like, I don't know how the fuck this even got made. But it's so good, dude.
It's a newer movie? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters a couple 2 months ago. What did I say? A month and a half ago? 2 months ago? It's very good.
Okay.
It's very good. What are some like classic, not classic maybe, but just like go to, since we're getting out of October, what kind of like classic horror movies you guys go to every Halloween season ish?
The Nightmare on Elm Street series for me was pretty big.
For sure.
I got into those when I was probably
ones,
a little.
not the new one. Is there a new one?
That new one's so
the new
bad.
one with his weird little mushed up face.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I probably saw those a little too young when I was still a little impressionable, and so I was able to get scared from Mr. Pedophile with fingers and their scissors. Yeah, so those ones probably proliferated some dreams and made me still scared for a while. So those kind of always hold a good spot in my horror watching.
What's your favorite out of the series?
Probably the third one.
Is that Dream Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors is awesome, right?
I just rewatched that one a little bit ago.
Yeah, and then the fourth one, the immediate sequel, they just recast the main girl. It like we're not gonna notice.
Yeah.
They don't even kill her right away. Like, that would be forgivable if you kill her right away.
Heather
Recast her.
Langenkamp, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever they replaced her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of her, and they kind of just like fell off until they did the new Nightmare. Because I remember the new. I haven't seen it since I was like in high school, but I remember the Freddy's New Nightmare being good.
Yeah, 4 was Dream Master.
Well, what about
Something like
Freddy
that.
versus Jason?
Yeah.
Is
So
those-
it was-
I mean, that's something you smoke a little bit, you have a nice glass of whiskey, and you're like, "What the? Freddy's an alien." What the fuck isn't there a
Is
scene?
that what it was- he
Isn't
was
there
an
a
alien?
scene where it's like an alien Freddy or like a baby Freddy or whatever crawling
No.
on the ground? Right?
Well, the baby Freddy's from one of the scenes in, I believe, Dream Warriors, or maybe it was the 5th one. So the 5th one, they go into his lineage where his mom was basically raped by 100 maniacs,
Right.
the son of 100 maniacs.
Oh,
And
is this
part of
about
that
Mel
sequence-
Gibson's wife?
Oh no!
He was like, I hope you get 500 maniacs.
That's like when they when like you would watch a movie on TNT and they replace all the curse words with like something stupid and
Keys
make
and
those
rice,
yeah.
keys and rice.
It's like, what the fruit is going on in here? So that's like the censored Mel Gibson tapes. I hope you get raped by a pack of maniacs.
But I think that's the one with the baby Freddy crawling all over the place.
Well, I
And,
remember in the 4th one, the main chick has the conversation with like the priest, or has a conversation with somebody.
the nun.
The nun.
That's Freddy's mom, and she's got it going on.
And they have that conversation, but I think the baby Freddy shows up in 5.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 6 is Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, where you
Yeah.
get, what's his name, from Road Trip. The main dude from Road Trip. was in that
Breckenmeyer?
one. Breckenmeyer is in that one.
Oh, okay.
Who, by the way, DJ Qualls. Sorry to break this, y'all.
Oh, you're just now finding out?
I was hanging. When I went out on a date with DJ Qualls, I found out he was a homosexual.
What?
Yeah.
DJ Qualls. Do you remember
He was
DJ
like
Qualls?
living with his husband.
I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about.
He was the kind of skinny, weird,
new
jerking
guy.
off guy. Yeah.
The skinny guy in Road Trip.
Yeah.
I've never seen Road
Where
Trip.
they're like, we have to.
What? You've never seen? Have people talked to you about Road Trip before?
No.
No,
classic.
come on.
Oh,
you
wait,
clown
wait,
my
wait,
dick.
wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait, wait. Yes, I've seen this movie. Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen this movie. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
every male, at least every male, and most women have that were alive in the 2000s have seen that
yeah,
movie.
I've seen
right?
this
Yeah,
movie.
You've definitely seen Amy Smart topless.
Oh, dude, Amy's
that
smart
was
in the
Todd
2000s.
Phillips' first movie.
Yes, it was.
Road Trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about this movie. Holy
Hey,
shit.
that's a good. I would pop that on and still watch it, dude. I mean, you might be taken out of it because you like watching Tom Green and you're like, oh, you better have that testicle checked, buddy. Go right now.
Oh, that's right. Tom Green was in this.
But
That's so funny.
But yeah, Breckenmeyer was apparently mean to DJ Qualls on the set of Road Trip.
Oh no.
Yeah, sassy.
Yeah.
Wait, so you went on a date with this guy?
No. I would though, DJ Qualls, if you're out there. I don't know if you're doing a live stream, but in case you were, but no, DJ Qualls. He's married, living with his husband. But he was in Road Trip, and I don't know. We were talking about Breckenmeyer.
Yeah.
Breckenmeyer. He ran through who's that? 2000s pop star everybody banged.
Alanis Morissette?
No, 2000s. Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Yeah, right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
This is just trivia here.
We're just going back, digging back through
Yeah, you
pop
guys
culture.
kill a trivia night.
Oh yeah, right. Are you a big fan of trivia?
No, I have no fucking idea. I'm losing half the references. No. So, Nightmare on Elm Street, what do you go
House
to?
of a Thousand Corpses.
That's a fun one.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
probably the one that I'd be like, okay, I want to be a little grossed out. It's kind of scary a little bit just because it's creepy, I guess.
Yeah.
You can see it happening in some back roads places.
And I think the ending is what the kicker is. The ending is the kicker because it's like a
Rob Zombie didn't have a
reverse,
plan.
like almost like a play on Texas Chainsaw. You know, if you look at that ending
Yeah.
and then you look at the ending of House of a Thousand, and you're just like, whoa, dude.
Well, yeah, because how does House of a Thousand Corpses end again?
She gets into a car. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm safe! I'm safe!" And it turns out he's just one of the family members.
Right.
And
Okay.
she wakes up, and that's kind of the fucked up thing is she wakes up right back where she was, and you're like, "Oh no, dude."
Yes, that's right.
But I say that one's now on the other side of that. You have Devil's Rejects, and that's a bit much for me.
Yeah.
Like that guy begging for his life, and the guy's like, "Well, pray to your God now. Where is he? I'm gonna take a shit on him." And you're like, "Dude,
Yeah.
come on."
Wasn't there a scene where a gun was inserted? And,
Yep.
Yeah.
In the unrated version.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then I start to take it a step further. I'm like, there are some people that just legit like this.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
this
'cause,
is
like-
not for like the horror aspect of it. They're like, oh
the
yeah,
weird
this is my
aspect.
shit.
Yeah, well, because like so movies like those two, and then like Texas Chainsaw, and there's one called House That Jack Built.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I watched those.
Turns me on.
Oh boy! All right, I'm calling 911.
Settle down, DJ.
But there's those those movies are mostly well made. But
Yeah.
what's cool about them, at least in my opinion, is that you feel grimy watching them. Like you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like you have this thing in the back of your head where it's like you shouldn't be watching this, but you're gonna keep watching it. You know what I mean? Like
Is
it makes you feel dirty.
Similar to a Twitter death video.
No, because I think everyone needs to watch Ukrainian drone videos right now, especially our politicians, because we're so far removed from war in America. We really are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everyone,
so
if
far
anybody
away.
who is pro-Ukrainian war needs to sit down, Clockwork Orange style, with their eyes peeled open, and they have to watch hours of Ukrainian war footage.
Well, how are you going to do that to Putin? I mean,
Wow.
he's like, more water.
But yeah, that's a solid.
Yeah.
Have you seen Antichrist?
Yes.
I watched that for the first time earlier this year.
Yeah.
Another
What a-
Lars von Trier movie.
Yeah, what a fucking film. Weird.
That's the
it's
one where Willem Dafoe's
Yep.
dick was too big, so they had to put a prosthetic penis on him that was smaller than his own.
Oh wait, what?
That's real. Yeah, that's part of the story around the making of the movie is that his dick was way too big and looked comedically wrong for the scene and what the emotion they were trying to portray. So they had to put a stunt penis on him.
Well, I would have hoped that they wouldn't have cut his cock anyway, but holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, Willem Dafoe swings it.
Dang, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Green Goblin, dude.
Oh, yeah, right. He
Got trouble dropping the goblin. Holy shit. But yeah, that's a great fucking movie, dude. Like, well, it's an effective movie. I think that's the best way to put it. It's effective. Have
Yeah.
you seen Antichrist?
yeah.
Yeah, Lars von Trier
Now-
is a weird dude.
He also did Nymphomaniac, right?
I couldn't
Is
get
that the same chick?
no.
Mia Goth.
Mia Goth was in Nymphomaniac,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to get through the first one and I just couldn't. It was so boring to me.
Nymphomaniac?
Yeah.
I just fast forwarded to the cool parts.
I just fast forwarded to the two big black guys.
Oh my God! What the fuck happens in this movie? Holy fuck! Mia Goth is someone that I'm kind of excited about. Like, I hope she gets more horror work. She's good.
I hope she gets away from Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Are they
He
still
just keeps cheating on her.
Are they still married
Well,
or whatever?
are they really? If
Yeah,
they are they
that's
really?
fair. But she was so. Now, granted, Maxine was a giant pile of shit.
Was it?
Oh, dude, it was horrible.
What was it about?
It was so. It's there's X
And then there's
and then
Pearl.
Pearl. Have you seen those?
I've seen parts of them.
They're in the
Very
same
good.
world.
Yeah, the same. It's a trilogy
Yeah.
of movies, right? So it goes X, and then Pearl is the prequel, and then Maxine is the third movie, right?
Okay.
And the first two are so damn good. And I guess what happened is they made X, and they were like, we've got extra money lying around, and we can just rebook this property. And I have this prequel made. Or written. So the director went to Mia Goth and was like, do you want to stick around for like 6 weeks and just make a prequel? We'll cast new people and we'll just get this going. And she's like, yeah, sure. So they made a prequel just right back to back. It was really good. And then Maxine just gets this huge budget and they just blew it, man.
Oh.
Horrible, not really compelling story. Mia Goth is fun to watch, but like she doesn't have a whole lot to work with, and it ends in this giant gunfight that makes no sense, and
Like Tombstone.
it's fucking horrible. Yeah, okay, wait, yeah.
You got Mia Goth and Tombstone. I'd watch that.
I'd like to see Mia Goth play Harley Quinn
Okay.
in the new like DC movies. I'm trying to make myself give a shit about superhero movies again.
What do you think of Crypto?
What?
Is that like an actual, not like the monetary thing, but like
Yeah,
Crypto,
yeah.
the super dog?
I mean, I think it's fine.
is that a troll? Are they actually putting him in
no,
a movie?
they're putting him in the movie, and I think Crypto's one of those things that just makes Superman more lovey-dovey. That's all.
Gotcha.
Like Crypto's a badass, shoots lasers, super strength, super speed, flight. That's all fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't give two tits if they fucking put Crypto in that movie.
I know, right?
Make the movie good. Make the Superman movie good. Like I'm still not happy about how they handled Henry Cavill. Or
Oh,
Cavill,
yeah.
if you want to pronounce it.
Wait.
I'm still not happy with how they handled him. So now I'm like, okay, if you think this guy's gonna be much better, you better do it right.
The suit looks shitty.
The suit looks fucking horrible.
That's maybe it looks better on film. You know,
I
don't
don't
know.
think so because it looks like
A cartoon.
well, it looks like it's this. I'm cool with it looking like a cartoon. It's got the same material as the Guardians of the Galaxy suits. It looks exactly like. Have you seen Guardians 3? It looks
Yeah.
like those suits, and I just don't like they were so close to it. I have two major complaints. My first complaint are the random like lines running through the suit. That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. And then the second thing is the symbol. Why does he have the Kingdom Come symbol when he's a young Superman? Kingdom
Yeah.
Come is old Superman coming out of retirement because these new age heroes are starting to kill people accidentally. It's an
gotcha.
elder Superman. Why are we giving the young guy that symbol?
It's kind of an anachronism, I guess you could say. Right?
Again, another big word that I don't understand.
Something that's just out of place.
Yeah.
Most of the time, with regards to time, or
well,
but
perfect,
yeah.
perfect usage of that verb. Your vernacular is insane.
I just learned that word actually. Well, I had heard that word. You ever hear a word and you're like, oh yeah, that's a word, and then it kind of floats around in your life again, and it's like, oh yeah, anachronism, and then you learn it one day, and then you get high and it goes away,
Anachronism. I'm going to use that.
and then like one day you see something that really just fucking pounds it into your head and it sticks there.
That's the perfect way to put it. And it's just tough for me to give a shit about the DC movies these days. But I hope that one's good. You know what I mean?
too.
But I would like to see Mia Goth just be like a really evil Harley Quinn.
I just, not to get off subject of that, but I just rewatched Snyder Cut, and and I watched the battle against like when all mankind comes together against Darkseid, like back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that scene is fucking amazing. That scene is awesome. There's so much cool shit in that they fit into that. Somehow he fit into this one scene. And then the battle at the end where Superman comes back And that sequence is just fucking amazing because they really give you an idea of what he fucking means to their success, by just basically having him kick the shit out of, I forget what that guy's name.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, Steppenwolf. And he's like, I really hate Magic Carpet Ride, but is it
Werewolves in London?
Steppenwolf, that band.
It's a band.
The one though? The one they're known for? Headed on the highway, looking for adventure.
Born to be Wild.
Born to be Wild.
No, it's not Born to be Wild. Is that Steppenwolf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put it on that movie where the kid
Easy
takes
Rider.
the gorilla. He takes the gorilla out of the sanctuary and tries to get it home in a jeep. He gives it like burgers.
Magic Carpet Ride
the movie
and Born
was-
to be Wild. Yeah.
The movie was also called Born to be Wild.
Oh,
I forgot about
shit.
that. They go
Really?
over a waterfall at one point. Gorillas don't swim.
Well, according to Mel Gibson, no, they don't.
Oh my god!
Oh, hey. The Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Anyway, those two sequences, I think personally, as far as like new movies with digital effects and someone being able to manage the emotion and the digital effects at the same time, and then you think about that scene, like the blocking, the storyboarding, the way you have to come up with different camera angles, and you're just like, wow, that's some genius shit if you just look at the different stuff that's in there. It's like, it's fucking amazing. There's so many
'cause
brilliant shots in there.
He notoriously, now I don't know what the fuck happened with Rebel Moon. I couldn't even get through that movie. It's so bad.
Not good.
Yeah, but he notoriously draws out all of his movies as
Really?
a storyboard. Yeah, he's a huge comic book dork.
Yeah.
So he draws them all out as storyboards. And my whole thing is like, and it just came down to, as I've talked about on this podcast so fucking much, that whole story just came down to studio hubris, where they were just like, this guy has the right idea, but if we put this out, we get proven wrong. So the current leadership at WB was like, fuck you, we're going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring in Joss Whedon and all that stuff. But it's just crazy how you can sit on that, because the theatrical came out in 17, the Snyder cut came out in 21.
21, yeah.
Yeah, so you're holding on to that for really, because they were shooting for a year and a half. You held on to that for 5, almost 6 years, and you knew what you had. That, and now granted, could they have broken up this 4-hour movie and made it 2? For sure, right? You probably would have had to shoot a different sequence to end the first movie, and then you have the rest of it play out the way it plays out. That is easily both of them can get close to, if not surpassing. Now, granted, I don't know if the first one would have made $1 billion, but the sequel definitely would have made $1 billion.
Do you think, with regards to the storytelling on that, you have to either leave Superman coming back for the end of part 1
Yes.
or the very beginning of part 2?
He comes back.
It has to be like that's the
he
thing.
comes back at the end of part 1.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the second part is them banding together to beat Steppenwolf and beat Steppenwolf, and then at the end of it, you see Darkseid through the portal.
Yeah,
and all
that
that
was
stuff.
cool. How cool is that when they cut his head off in midair and then it just rolls through the fucking
He
portal? and
steps
you're like,
on it,
cold,
yeah,
man,
dude.
cold.
Well, I just want to see the world. Like, I went through a deep dive because like all the storyboards got leaked for what the second and third movie would have been, and I want to see that world, whether it's in an animated movie, a comic book. I just want to see what this nightmare world looks like. Where like Darkseid takes over the Earth and Superman's his
evil
henchman, and I want to see what that looks like. But no, we're going to get a reboot with James Gunn. And I guess we're doing Creature Commandos first this upcoming month, and it's Superman, and it's Batman with all the Bat family already. And it's like,
really?
It's things you would think on paper you should be excited for, but it's like, okay, like, it's not going to be better than Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it's not going to be better than Ben Affleck. There's no possible way.
That's, you know what? That's what I'm thinking.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if you want someone brooding, Ben Affleck is your man, right?
Yeah.
Especially when he's in a relationship with J-Lo.
Off and on for fucking 10 years. Yeah.
What about Godzilla -1?
I loved it.
Fucking amazing. Did you see that,
Did you
Alan?
see that
I did
shit?
see it.
What'd you think?
Godzilla looked good except for the parts where he was standing still on land.
That's fair.
Oh yeah, that was the one.
But that dude,
he looked like
that-
a chonky cat.
That first sequence where they're on the beach and the dude pussied out, so all his friends are dying.
That's fucking awesome.
And Godzilla's just ripping shit. Oh, dude.
That's amazing, dude. That's how you make people give a shit about Godzilla. Is you have to present real consequences, not just like, oh look, he's fucking cool and he's gonna get a running start, and do a flying leap, and fucking do a karate kick, and fucking It's like karate. Godzilla learns karate. It's all just doing like.
What was smart about that is they took Godzilla back. It was an effective reboot, right? So they took it back to immediately after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Japan just got hit with 2 nuclear bombs, and now it's like, hey, now we've got this giant fucking lizard to deal with, and the Imperial Army's broken up. Like, they did it a great way.
So many great elements to that story is what it is.
They didn't have
for sure.
They didn't have Ice Cube's son in it ruining the whole thing. like the American ones are cool just because like they're spectacle, but like if you
Storytelling
wise, you just kind of fast forward.
Yeah.
Like Godzilla versus Kong was so bad. I legitimately could not believe what I was watching. Like the story was so bad, it took away from the action.
It was a little bit, right?
It was shocking, and I never saw the new one that came out.
I hate it when there's just a glaring plot device.
Oh, the MacGuffin.
I'm like, you didn't even work this
Yeah.
plot device well. They're like, we don't have time for well hidden plot devices. We just need to get to the fucking action, you know?
That's the thing too with Godzilla versus King Kong. That should be the easiest movie to make. Big lizard versus big monkey. Humans are in danger. It's not that hard. It's really not. Especially because like I didn't mind Skull Island. With the dude who played what's his
John
name?
C. Reilly.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah, him, Sam Jackson, Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't mind that movie at all. I thought it was a great way to establish Skull Island and establish that lore, and they teased the hollow, I almost said Middle Earth, the Hollow Earth stuff, and so I was like, okay. And my roommate, I was telling you guys about earlier, the one that deployed, he was watching that Monarch show.
Oh, yeah.
With Kurt Russell and his son, and apparently that show
Was it pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Kurt Russell and his son play the same character in 2 times.
Yeah.
So Kurt Russell plays the current day version, and then his son plays like the 1940s version. It's
Right.
fucking weird.
Well,
It's a lot to live up to.
and
You're
I've
just
heard
going to pretend to be your dad. You don't have the life experience of raising you, kid.
But I've heard it's good.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Did
good
you
show.
enjoy
I
it?
enjoy it, yeah.
So, you know, it's like that exists, but then also just big lizard, big monkey. It's like getting 2 action figures and just slapping them together.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. And they managed to fuck it up for over 2 hours. Like, I don't understand. Like, Mechagodzilla was cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think, look at the, if we really want to dive into it, look at the challenges that story does present, because you have fans where everybody's a fan of both monsters. So I think the challenge is trying to present a new and fresh story, and then you kind of, it's a bold move to have one of these monsters die or appear to lose, but I don't think the studio heads are going to let any of that shit go on.
Well,
you
if
know?
I remember correctly, they have a winner at the end. Kong wins, right?
Isn't it more like they
Or no,
work
God-
together to beat Mechagodzilla?
No, but they have that initial fight in the city, and there's a definitive winner. Like, I think Kong ends up winning, right? Or was it Godzilla?
I think Godzilla.
No,
got the
Godzilla
better of
wins
them.
because King Kong now has that like brace on his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, they do come together to fight Mechagodzilla.
And that's the whole thing, is when you have these 2 heroes, it's like, how do you wind up with an ending where one of them can't lose? Well, you usually have to have them face a common threat.
Yeah, or you
know?
get a moth to mind control them.
Yeah. But for those ones, we're going for the spectacle. We're going to see.
I'm there to eat popcorn.
Yeah,
Hear,
exactly.
Hear the cool noise Godzilla's spikes make when they light up, and it's all, and when you're like, oh shit, it's coming. And then the rest of the movie, you're like,
Well, that was one of the best parts in the that first Godzilla movie they made with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
oh yeah.
Where at the end of the movie, like the last fight of the movie, where Godzilla's finally charging up to do the big atomic blast.
Oh yeah.
I remember sitting in the theaters. I was on a date, right? I was like, what, 17, 18 years old? No, 16, 17. I was on a date. I completely forgot that chick was even there.
And you're just like, whoa.
And I was like, what the fuck is going? And then,
That was so cool.
so fucking good, dude. And that's what I liked about Batman vs Superman. Is they came together to fight fucking Doomsday, whatever. But like they had Batman beat Superman. Like
Plot device there, Martha.
well, okay, so here's how I feel about
I could
that.
see part of it, but then I think you got to give them more than just one name,
Yes.
you know?
So I think the execution, they needed to leave that script in the oven for another 6 months. Let it cook a little more. Let it brainstorm a little bit to make it a little more natural. I agree. But, I see the point that they were making because, that whole movie, and that movie got a lot of shit for no reason. I really think it shouldn't have
I think so too.
I don't think it should have been panned the way that it was.
No.
But I really like the idea of having a Batman, because it's Batman doesn't kill. Correct. Yes. But if you're going to make him kill, what's the justification? Then how do you bring him back to being Batman, right?
Yeah.
And so I really liked the idea that Batman just kind of lost his marbles a little bit after he's like, 20 years of fighting criminals. Now there's this dude that's invincible, can shoot lasers. Fuck this. You know what? If he has lasers, I get guns. Sorry. And so he starts using guns. And then at the end of it, it literally takes him turning into Joe Chill potentially, right? Being the same archetype that took away his parents. Now he's going to kill someone who's lost his parents as well. Or is about to lose his mother.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I liked they put Batman in the position of Joe Chill. And I mean, Batman, if you look at the guy, he's got severe mental issues. He's got severe trauma.
Oh, yeah.
So that sort of thing is going to make him snap. Now, granted, did they execute it very well? Not the best. So then it turns into Martha,
Martha, what did you say?
Yeah, so it's it turns into this meme where it's if you would have made that just a little more natural somehow,
It would have been great.
But I thought it was fine.
I thought it was all right.
I thought it was fine.
Alan, can you think of a plot device that was glaring sometimes, or some sort of plot MacGuffin or something that's just you could have hidden that better?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Well, the Star Wars movies, there was the 7th one where they pretty much just remade A New Hope.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking glaring. Isn't there a line in that movie where they're like, it's the Death Star again, or they call it the Death Star 2 or whatever? Right? Isn't that a thing?
And it has TOO written on the side of it. Hey, it's a little on the nose.
And then in the what was it? The 9th one? That's the one where Palpatine comes back, right?
Yeah.
I have not been following.
Alan loves comic book and Star Wars movies.
So they Oscar Isaac has that line where he goes, somehow Palpatine returned. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Apparently, isn't there books or an animated series that explains that he cloned himself? And then 1,000 fucking ships rise up out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, okay, where did they get the steel and the energy, the manpower? They're like, no, they just made them, dude.
They ruined Star Wars so fast. And I'm not even a big Star Wars fan. I'm a casual enjoyer, and I know they ruined that shit.
It's just really breaking the tone of storytelling. That's so egregious that as a viewer you have a hard time. Anytime something breaks the tone of your story. I'm trying to think of the biggest one.
Joker 2 is the recent one.
Oh yeah, Joker 2.
Did
there
you guys
you
watch
go.
that?
No.
Don't.
Is it? What is?
I heard
is
he makes it out okay.
No. He actually gets raped in that movie.
Does he?
He gets fucking raped, dude.
I'll go see it now.
It's so bad. It is legitimately to call it a movie is a debate.
Is it pretty plausible that the director was like, for making this movie, you made me make this movie?
I think
and
so.
You had these people who loved the mentality of a psycho. Well, I'm just going to shit all over that.
Well, so what I think happened, truthfully, was... So, because I was talking to my girlfriend about this, because me and her went to go see it, and it's so fucking horrible. So back in the in the 90s after Frank Miller wrote The Dark Knight Returns, and that was like the biggest fucking, and it was at the time, the biggest thing to ever happen to comic books.
Yeah.
DC was like, hey, bitch, you're making another fucking book. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, we got you in a contract. Yes, you are. So he turned around and he makes The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is well known as one of the worst comic books ever written.
What's so really bad about it?
It's just, the art is horrible. The story makes zero sense. They turn Dick Grayson into the Joker for no reason. It's just so horrible in its representation of characters. There's no story. Anyway.
A lot of tone breaking.
Yeah, so take that logic and apply it to Todd Phillips and Joker 2. I think he was like, him and Joaquin Phoenix were like, hey, guess what, guys? This is it. We're going to do one movie, one and done, whatever. Then, $1 billion in an Oscar winning movie later, Warner Bros. Was like, we're doing one more. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to make the worst movie ever fucking made.
Yeah.
It was so fucking
Do you think
bad.
they're like, well, if you don't do it, we'll get someone who will?
I don't know if they would have. Well, they didn't make money anyway, so who the fuck knows? I don't know what their plan was. But it's almost 9 o'clock, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's call it an evening.
At the time.
This was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to do it again sometime.
Let's do.
You guys are the shit. 2 of my favorite podcasters in the city.
It's always fun having you on too, man.
Routinely entertaining. Where can everyone find your podcast and find you guys on social media?
Instagram, Potential Problems Podcast. YouTube, same thing. We got like 532 episodes up there. You can see almost 400 of those. 1,000 subscribers on the page. We put up stuff as frequently as we're able to. There's also the Facebook page. I have Albuquerque Gardening if you want to follow the giant pumpkin growing. He's very something else this next year. So.
We talk shit, but he's very talented at that.
Oh yeah,
he's a very
Great
good
job,
pumpkin
buddy.
grower. This guy.
Thank you.
And then, when do you guys stream your show?
Usually every Friday, about 6:15. This Friday, if everything holds true, we should have AJ DeLeon.
Hey, AJ, sweet.
Is that his last name?
Yeah.
He seems like a nice kid. He's the nicest kid I know with that many tattoos. So
No, he's a good dude. Me and him become real close as doing comedy.
Awesome.
He's a good guy. That'll be a lot
I
of fun.
can tell he's a good dude. You can, like, if you're in the room with Mel Gibson, you'd get a sense from him about how he feels about certain things, women, Jews, me. But then if you're like if you like see someone's media and their content, their social media, their content, how they talk and their demeanor, that gives you an insight, and I can tell he's a good dude. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
It's been a blast. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Let's
do it again sometime.
See you next time.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.